I'm a 32-year-old female. I'm married and have a young toddler daughter. I went to college with my husband Joe and best friend Natalie. Joe and I fell out of touch with Natalie for a few years after we graduated, but reconnected with her in our mid-20s when we all moved to the same city. Natalie was dating her now husband Jacob when we first moved to the city, and they went out of their way to include us in things and introduce us to their friends. The four of us became incredibly close, and I now consider them two of my best friends. It's been special experiencing our 20s together and transitioning to being parents and spouses. Yesterday, Natalie, Jacob and their toddler son came to our place for dinner. The kids fell asleep pretty early so the four of us could relax and have some drinks. At one point, Natalie asked if she could speak with me privately. We went upstairs to my room and she asked if Joe and I ever considered sharing. I asked what she meant and she said she and Jacob had been discussing opening their relationship. She said she wants to be intimate with my husband and Jacob wants to be intimate with me. At first, I thought she was joking, but she assured me she was being completely serious. She told me that she loves Joe and me together, but also thinks he's a smoke show and wouldn't mind being intimate with him for fun. To be honest, this completely shocked me. Natalie and Jacob have always been pretty straight-laced, and I never thought they'd want to share each other. I told Natalie I wasn't interested, and she said swapping partners is a good way to keep marriage exciting and build trust. She also said it could be good for my relationship with Joe. I said that my relationship with Joe is great, but I'm hurt that my best friend wants to be intimate with my husband. Natalie said she'd only do it if we were both okay with it and that I was being judgmental of her and Jacob's private life. I told her I was not being judgmental of what they do, but I also felt weird about her wanting to bring me and my husband into it. Natalie continued to say I was being judgmental and overreacting. She left upset, and when I told my husband about the conversation, he was equally shocked and upset. He said he doesn't want his friend to be intimate with his wife. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I'm honestly hurt that my best friend is thinking about being intimate with my husband. Their life is their business, and I don't care if they want to open their relationship, but I'm hurt that they'd risk years of friendship for a casual, intimate experience. I'm shocked and confused by this, and I'm unsure if my hurt is justified or if I'm overreacting. Am I the idiot for being hurt that my best friend asked to swap husbands? Not the idiot. She must be really dense to spring this on you without first testing the water by asking for your opinion on people who swap spouses. This friendship needs to cool big time, as I don't know how you could ever hang out together again knowing what you know. Her response after you said you aren't comfortable is an extreme red flag. The fact that you were a quick and easy no, and she was trying to convince you anyway, is very telling of her character. She will probably be a selfish partner in whatever way they open their relationship. She's prioritizing her experience and desires over everything and everyone so much that she's willing to risk your friendship. She can't be trusted around your husband anymore, in my opinion. Once you said you weren't interested, that should have been the end of it, and there should have been no attempted persuasion. She's hiding her anger of you killing her fantasy of cheating with your husband under the guise of you judging her lifestyle. I was wondering the same thing. If they both want to partner swap and they're all so close, why not have this conversation as a group? Is the husband not really on board, and is Natalie putting feelers out with her friend to convince him as well? Are we sure the husband even knows about this? Hun, she doesn't want to open the relationship, she just specifically wants your husband, and apparently her husband knows nothing about this because you think he would have spoken to your husband. The fact that your husband didn't have the same conversation while they were alone already speaks volumes. I'd bet my soul that she's eyed your husband from the get-go. I love my wife. She is intelligent and sweet. Also, she is beautiful inside and out. She teaches high school English and social studies. She loves novels and usually has several on the go. However, she cannot follow the plot of a movie to save her life, unless it's about a big city lawyer visiting her hometown to shut down the local factory, but instead reconnecting with her high school boyfriend, who is also the local baker and mayor. I've known this about her for years and accepted it. I just like relaxing with her, so I'm happy to see white people rediscovering the magic of Christmas or whatever. When we were dating, we watched The Matrix. The questions she asked had me wondering about her. The same happened for anything complex. She didn't get the ending even in The Usual Suspects, where they lay everything out for you. We had her sister and brother-in-law over for a couple's night on Friday. We made supper and the plan was to watch a movie. Her sister wanted to watch Shutter Island. I won't spoil it, but the film has many twists. The ending is fantastic. I tried my best to suggest anything else. The new Laura Dern movie where she has intimacy with the kid from Hunger Games. They all ganged up on me and said we were watching Shutter Island. My wife proceeded to embarrass herself by not understanding the ending and asking questions that were not great. Her sister and her husband were looking at my wife like she was Simple Jack. I tried my best to cover for her or tell her I would explain it later. She got angry at me for not just answering her questions. After they left, she started in on me. She said she noticed that we always watched a certain kind of movie and thought I enjoyed them. I said I did because we got to spend time together, which made me happy. She said she was not an idiot and that she just didn't concentrate on movies. She recited the plots of several novels to prove her point. I said that I never commented on her intelligence and that she was smarter than me. She says I'm a jerk for not watching movies I enjoy with her. So I agreed and we watched Memento today. Her head almost exploded from not asking questions. I saw her on Wikipedia reading the plot. Am I the idiot for intentionally not watching complicated movies with my wife? You are the idiot. Did she embarrass herself or were you embarrassed on her behalf? By which I mean, was she upset by not understanding the movie or just by how you were reacting? How sure are you that the negative vibe you got from your sister was about her asking dumb questions and not her sister being concerned about you trying to shut her down? Like, there's no way she and her sister haven't watched movies together before, right? Her habit of wanting movie plots explained while watching them could not have been news. Exactly this. Opie has decided what is best for her without discussion and without her even knowing what he's doing. It may well be that she's happier watching simpler, down-to-earth movies. This might end up being your shared movie night experience in the future, but you don't get to decide that for her. And if you feel embarrassed for her, maybe try to find out how she feels. If the only thing she felt bad about that whole interaction was you trying to cover for her, then that is what you should do differently. Trying to make a point with Memento feels like an idiot move. Pick something average, maybe rather than a film most people watch twice because they couldn't follow the first time around. Is there no middle ground between Hallmark movies and damn Memento? Lying to your wife about what movies you enjoy is quite sad and shows a lack of trust. Good luck to OP, but you are the idiot. So here's the situation. I, 30 male, have a younger sister, 25, who moved to a big city a few years back. She has always bounced from job to job and has a history of spending money on useless things like designer clothes and lavish brunches with friends. Anyway, she called me last week absolutely sobbing, saying she had had a bad week because her boss was a jerk and some of her friends weren't supportive. Now, I'm all for empathy and support, but this was the third time in a month she called me with some excuse about how she couldn't pay her rent. Last month it was because she always buys overpriced coffee instead of making it at home. Seriously, who spends $7 or $8 on a coffee every day and then expects someone else to bail them out? The month before that, she was angry that her favorite luxury makeup brand had a price increase, which according to her, caused her to lose money, because obviously her self-care was more important than adult responsibilities. So this time she asked me to cover her rent because she needed a little help to get back on her feet. I outright told her no, that she needed to start being responsible and manage her finances better. Well, you would have thought I declared war on her life. She went off about how I'm unsupportive and the worst brother ever for not helping her during her trials and tribulations. Now my parents are calling me, telling me I should just help her out this one time because family helps family. I told them that if she can't handle the responsibilities of being an adult, she should move home and stop wasting money on things she doesn't need. Am I the idiot for refusing to pay her rent and being firm about her financial irresponsibility? Not the idiot. She's an adult now. She should be held accountable for her actions instead of letting mommy and daddy or her brother bail her out every time. Otherwise, she won't learn how to be self-sufficient. She's not into self-care, she's into entitlement. Yeah, self-care BS, that's an excuse. Self-care is sitting in a park and watching your favorite movie, not makeup and coffee. Quit complaining and cut her off. It's that easy. Why don't your parents shell out the money then? Family helps the family. LMAO. You don't owe anything to anyone, family or not. That's just me. Sounds like you have bailed her out before, and now you're drawing the line because she's refusing to modify her lifestyle to afford rent. I don't understand these people who don't make sure they have money for necessities first, then you can spend the remaining if you have any. That's pretty much the biggest part of being an adult. Cut the cord. Care more about your life. She's draining your savings. She's an investment with a negative return value. My wife and I have been together for 6 years now, and a few months ago we welcomed our first child, our baby girl, the sweetest baby ever. The ongoing tension between my wife and me started with what happened on the day of the birth. During the final 2 months of her pregnancy, my wife was overwhelmed with anxiety about giving birth. As her due date approached, She refused to even talk to her doctor on the phone, breaking down in tears at the slightest mention of labor. It was like she was in denial, as if ignoring it would make it go away. I tried to encourage her to see a therapist or at least talk to someone, but she shut me down every time, saying she just wasn't ready. On the day she went into labor, she was having noticeable, intense contractions, and she kept insisting they were minor and refused to go to the hospital. Her mom, her sister, my mom, my sister, and I all tried to reason with her, but nothing got through. She was determined to stay home despite being in active labor. At that point, my sister and I knew we had to act. Throughout her pregnancy, my wife had been craving churros, so my sister casually mentioned she was going to pick some up. My wife jumped at the chance to go with her, thinking it would help take her mind off things, but my sister and I had already agreed we were taking her straight to the hospital. There was no way we could leave it up to her judgment anymore. When my wife realized where we were going, her face dropped. She started crying and panicking in the car, but we pushed through because it was the only way. In the end, everything went smoothly. She gave birth safely, and both she and the baby were healthy. It's been a few months, and she keeps berating me, using it like a weapon in every argument. Every time I apologize, I reassure her and tell her that I can empathize with her because she was very scared that day. I never meant to hurt her, I just wanted what was best for her and our child. There was no ill will involved, but she continued to make me feel like I was somehow a terrible person for what I did to her. This time, when she berated me again, I finally let myself snap because I felt she deserved some harshness from me too. I told her she thinks she's doing our marriage great favors by being the toxic one, always carrying that bomb in her back pocket, ready to throw it in my face whenever she wants without a shred of shame. And if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't hesitate because in that moment, her choices couldn't be trusted. If she's bitter about it after endlessly making up to her, that's foolish. She should be grateful I stepped in, took control, and ensured she and the baby came through safely and healthily. And unless she's willing to work with me, understand my perspective and communicate healthily, I won't speak to her about it anymore. She refused to take it in and called me an idiot for dismissing and stonewalling her because I firmly made it clear I would only engage in constructive conversation over this. I don't respond well to being called names like that because I never talk to her that way. I've never talked to anyone that way. I was furious with her for calling me an idiot, so I finally said something like, "Talk to me in that tone again and you'll soon be a single mom real quick." She can't stop crying. I feel terrible, but this had been a pattern. I had just been taking all the verbal beatings and had to end it by responding with the same energy. Your wife needs help, and I say that with all kindness. I had an intense fear of labor. I expressed this to my doctor. My doctor was very upfront that fear is or was one of the most significant precursors to postpartum depression. There is help available. While her resentment can somewhat be understood, she needs a painful wake-up call that her behavior was dangerous and something is still wrong. Get her help. My mum apparently had to be dragged from the sofa during labor with me. Her friend, who'd already had 2 children, did it, and Mom was like, No, I've changed my mind." You're not the idiot. Everyone has a breaking point, but this is probably a good time to start working at the root of the problem for both of your sakes, just so no one says anything that has long-term damage on your relationship. Here's the backstory. Recently, I, 28 male, got my own house. I moved out from my parents' house at 18. Not really by choice, my dad basically pushed me out. Our relationship's been rocky since then. He's always been a huge drinker and smoker, which caused plenty of issues back then. Fast forward, he lost his house a few months ago and didn't keep up with loan payments. So he calls me up and says he needs a place to stay while he gets back on his feet. I laid out a few ground rules: either pay rent, $400, or cover groceries, about $250 to $300, and no smoking in the house. He laughs and says, "I'm your father, I shouldn't have to pay." But I won't budge, so he reluctantly agrees to buy groceries. From the moment he moves in, it's just one problem after another. Leaves a mess everywhere, doesn't clean up, smokes inside even though I made it clear that's a no-go, and gets intoxicated like there's no tomorrow. Then one day, I have a girl over, and he has this meltdown over it. So I tell him, listen, if he can't respect my space, he'll have to find somewhere else to stay. Things settle for a bit, but last week he hit me with, "I don't have the money to buy groceries this month." I'm like, "Why?" He says, "Well, you eat a lot," and admits he spends all his cash on smokes and drinks. That was it for me. I was done with him acting like he owned the place, and I was done with the flashbacks of dealing with him as a teen. I told him to pack up and leave. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and good on you, OP. Some people may likely tell you how mean you are. The response to those folks is you will be happy to provide your dad with the info they would like to house him until he gets back on his feet. That should quiet things considerably. Dude, he had no intention of paying or getting back on his feet. Now please lock down your credit. Your dad seems to think you owe him, and opening up a credit card in your name just until he gets on his feet is just around the corner. Great advice. Losing his own home didn't serve as a wake-up call for him to reassess his situation. Since he's disregarding your reasonable rules, it's only fair that he faces the consequences of losing the place where he could have found support again. I'm guessing that at some point he's used the phrase, "my house, my rules," and that's a sword that cuts both ways.